Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. I hope it's afternoon for the most of you, or it could be evening if you're based in Southeast Asia or Far East, and morning if you're based in Europe, UK, and so on. So, thanks for joining. I'm Varun Puladia from n8n, and to give you a very short introduction about n8n before Malvika continues it. Um, those who have been here would already know what we do. But those who are new here, I mean, those who are attending the webinar for the first time, just for them, brief introduction, little bit of information about Naman.ai is that we are primarily a generative AI and AI automation solutions company. We help businesses to streamline their operations. Could be all kinds of operations, marketing operations, sales operations, manufacturing operations, or say your inventory management and multiple things, right? So all kinds of operations. We help businesses to streamline those by using automation or by infusing automation wherever there is an opportunity, wherever it makes sense and adds value to the business. So bottom line, I mean, baseline for what we do or the impact of what we do is we help businesses to reduce cost, reduce the time that it takes for different operations, uh, and we help them increase their revenue and profitability. So that's what we do, but we do everything using AI, generative AI, and automation. So that's a bit about us, and I'll share a few links in the chat. So if you're not a part of our community, you should join our community. That's where we host a lot of we share a lot of content. We share lot of courses, tutorials, how to guides, and so on. And very soon we'll also be sharing, or we'll also be starting series of very exclusive courses and kind of boot camps, kind of, which will be only for very serious people who are interested, like really interested in automation. So if you're not a part of the community, you should join the community right away. I'll just share the link in the chat box, and from here, Malvika will continue. So Malvika is our AI engineer at n8n, and she is an expert at n8n automation. So everything related to generative AI and AI automation using n8n. She's the go-to person for us. She's created a lot of automation workflows, and today we're going to be talking about one of those workflows, one of those use cases, and Malvika will share more about it. Meanwhile, stay tuned. I'll just share the links, the important links in the chat box, and feel free to ask questions, add your comments, suggestions, whatever you have, even during the webinar while Malvika is talking. So yeah, you can just probably raise your hand, and we can pause there, and you can speak with it. So thanks a lot for joining again, and over to you, Malvika.
Hi everyone, Malavika here. Thank you so much, Varun, for the intro. So yeah, before we jump into the topic of the day, I would just like to show what we already automations that we already provide and how you could benefit from that. So we build automations that deliver quality, and they save you both time and money. As you can see here, these are some of the automations that we already have related to email hyper personalization, inbound marketing, Reddit automation, proposal generation, etc. So as you can see here, each of them have a certain metric and a metric connected to that ROI as to how it saves your time and how much it saves your money and etc. So for example, if we look at the proposal generation automation, and you get, like, for example, you get on a call with a client, and you have a like a deal, right? So you have to get back to them with the whole proposal. So it takes a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks to jot it down, make a proposal, and then send it to them. What a proposal generation automation does is that you can either during the sales call just fill up a form and then click send at the end of it, and then you have within minutes a proposal generated for you and an email drafted, so that once you have a look at it and you can just go ahead and send it to your client, or you can just have the sales call recorded. You can send the recording ahead, and the agent will do it for you. So yeah, that is what the automations that we have already created. We also have we also make custom automations that are more suited for your industry or for your use case, right? Yeah. So before I jump on to the main topic, I would also like to include that we'll be providing three consultations and free audits, three free consultation and audits this month, which we did last month as well. So if you're interested, you can book a consultation with us in the link that Varun shared in the chat box, right? So let's get on to today's session, right? So today's session will be on creating AI-powered product photography. Now, if you've ever struggled to get like high quality visuals without hiring a professional photographer or spending on expensive shoots, then this webinar is going to give you a repeatable system which you can use instantly, right? Today, we'll be understanding how to create product photos, marketing assets for Instagram or for your like Insta post, reel, ad, or your website banner, etc. We'll understand the base of how this works, right? And now here's the secret, right? It's not just uploading a product photo and then clicking generate. The magic basically comes when you have the correct prompts. These are two examples of what we have already created. So if you want to understand how we can get to such a perfect, beautiful product at the end, then please stick to the end of the webinar. The first one was just a perfume bottle that I this day created, and as you can see, I just created a product photo using prompting, and you can see how clear the product photo has come out. It looks very realistic. All the elements are perfect, and it looks very real. And even the second one, coming to the jewelry, that is also a very uh, critical piece of a critical product where every carving on that should be seen clearly, and as you can see, it is pretty good. So this is ready as a marketing asset to be posted on your social media, right? And you also have an option to change the dimensions so that you can post it at different places. Correct. Right. Now, first, let us understand what is a prompt. If you're not aware, then a prompt is basically a set of instructions that you give to your AI. Now, think of it as telling your photographer exactly what kind of shot you want, the background, the vibe, the lighting, and everything. The clearer you are, the better results you'll get, right? Now, before we even think about prompting, we have to make sure that your product photo that we are working on is solid. Like here are basically like four quick rules, or I can say tips, just to make sure that your raw product photo is perfect. Now it should be take the product photo that you're taking, right? Always work with high resolution images. Make sure it's very good. If you're not getting like very perfect images also, that's fine, because the tool that we'll be working on, it also has an option to upscale your image. If there's blurred content, the text is not seen properly, then before you get on with generating the product photo, you can upscale it. Or even after you're generated, if you want to make sure it's even better, then you have an option to upscale, and then you get a very beautiful photo at the end, which is like features are very sharp. Then make sure you have even lighting, like no weird shadows or harsh spots on the product. Then keep everything like within the frame. Make sure the whole product is within the frame. Then yeah, to begin with, take a straight on angle, like from the front. Take it. Did somebody have anything to ask?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So just make sure all this is followed and you have your raw photo. Like, right. Now you have your product photo ready. Now we start with a very simple prompt formula. Now this has just two parts, surface and background. Now, surface defines what your product is sitting on. For example, a circular wooden platform. Then, say your background is is the setting. It, for example, say forest clearing. So you put these two together and you have a prompt, a very simple prompt, an object on a circular rustic wooden platform in a sunlit forest clearing. I just added a few more things. The images are not exactly what it shows here, but just this is an example to show what a simple prompt can do. You can get even pretty images using this. But when you want your shots to look like they came straight out of a magazine, then you will want to make this prompt even stronger. So instead of thinking of product photos as random shots, we have a simple formula for that. We call this the perfect product photography prompt. Now, this includes the prefix, the product, surface, background, surrounding, the lighting, the mood. So let's walk through each of them. Now, prefix, it will tell your AI what kind of photo style you want, right? Like editorial photo, or professional photo, or luxury photo of an object. Now, coming to product, it is the hero of your image, like a gold ring or wireless earphones. Now, we always, when we write it, it's better to say an object. Address it as an object. You don't need to have a description for that, right? And then comes the surface. Now, this element describes where the product should be placed. Example, on a marble slab or a rustic wooden board. Then comes the background, the bigger environment. You're talking about a modern kitchen or a beach. Then you have the surroundings. These are called the small details around the image, scattered coffee beans or falling leaves. Then you have the lighting. It defines the vibe, golden hour glow or neon lighting. And then you have the mood. Mood is basically the emotion, cozy and warm, dramatic and bold, elegant and luxurious. So all these are examples, all have to fit in into each of these images. Now, if you see, a basic prompt will be a stylized photo of a gold ring on a velvet surface with a clean white background. But if you understand this formula, then you write it in a better way. Now, we'll also see an example. Okay, yeah. So now this is one example. I had given just an image of this phone on the stand, and I had given a prompt. So if you'll have a look at here, look at this image here. The prefix, what I had given is the professional photo of the product. Here it sets the standard for sharpness and polished image, right? And for the surface, I've said a nighttime rooftop. Now it adds context and it makes the shot, it feels more premium. Now for the background, I've said futuristic cityscape, right? Now this part, it adds like the storytelling component and it brand positioning, right? Perfect for tech products, like futuristic cityscape. Then we talk about the surrounding. We tell minimum tech accessories. Then we have lighting, dynamic and ambient. Then we have the mode that says, okay, I'm sorry, I think it's covering. Let's see. It says like bold, sleek, and sophisticated, right? So this is what the vibe that you want the customers to feel. Now, before we also look at some other pro tips for writing prompts, I would just like to show why this is important. Now, if you see on the left side, I have an image. Both are product photography prompts only. Now, for the left side, I had just told the AI that I want my product on a rooftop at nighttime with surrounded by colorful lights, right? A very simple prompt. And this is what it gave me. Now, it looks very bad. It is not suited for any social media platform or anywhere. It's clearly fake. But on the right side, when I give it a very descriptive prompt using all the elements that I had just talked about, I made sure it had the prefix, the background, the surroundings. I made sure everything was mentioned. And as you can see, it looks completely different. It looks much, much better. It looks professional, right? Now, some of the pro tips for when we write prompts is to be descriptive. Now, you should say a polished marble countertop in a modern kitchen and not just a kitchen counter. because the first one will give you a more detailed uh, output, right? Then be specific. When you're saying, say, rustic wooden table in a sunlit garden, for example, just don't say a simple wooden table, right? And then uh, keep it simple. Don't write very descriptive prompts also, like writing a novel. Just focus on the essential parts and mention materials. That is very important. Now, for example, when we looked at the jewelry, the ring, in the prompt, when I had to mention, when it was generated, the prompt mentioned velvet cushion, because of which you can see it was placed on a velvet cushion and it looked very good, right? And you don't need to name the product in this case. Just skip any kind of metaphors. For example, you don't need to say urban decay vibes, but you can just say an object on a ruined city street. That will give you a good enough output of what you had in mind. If you just have all this in mind, you will get an output that works very well. That works exactly what you want. Exactly what you want, you will get that. Okay, so I'll just come on to the n8n platform and just show you the automation that we have for that. Okay, so this is the automation that I talked about. Now, I don't want to bore you with all the technical details, but I will walk you through the entire automation so that you can have an idea and understand it, right? Now, first thing, we have a Google Sheet here. This is the icon for the sheet. On n8n, anytime you want to add your notes, all you have to do is click on this plus and then you add your notes, you connect them. Once you have the logic in mind, it's very easy to connect them together, right? So now I have the Google Sheet node. I have a sheet that's named AI product photography. As you can see, I'll be sharing. Yeah, so this is the sheet here. I have this image here. Let's look at the image. Now, this is the image of the perfume bottle that I was talking about, right? So I have this image here. Now, this image will be transformed into marketing assets. Now, when we come back to this, what I have done is I have run this node here. And as you can see in the output, I have my image URL. From this only image URL, I will be creating the marketing assets that we want. Now, what are the marketing assets? You have multiple divisions in the marketing assets. You have your social media, Instagram posts or Pinterest posts, Instagram stories, reels. And then you have for the ad campaigns. Then you have your website banners. So for each of them, you will have different kinds of prompts. Here, I'll be showing you example for Instagram post and a reel. You can make modifications, or you can always get back to us for a consultation. And if you want marketing assets for, say, 10 marketing assets or 20, we can do that, right? As of now, this is two examples for you to understand how this automation works, why it's useful, and how the end product makes it much better. You have read your sheet, you have your URL here, and then, yeah, that's not quite necessary. Suppose I have 10 images. I want marketing assets for 10 images. What I have to do is I have a loop node here. What a loop node does is that if I have 10 images, it will make sure it goes through one image at a time, right? So that's what I'll be doing here. I'll be, since I have only one image, I don't need to loop through, but I'm just letting you know that even if you have 10 images, you can do that. You can loop through them and make sure you don't need to even be involved. All you have to do is maybe schedule, instead of using a test trigger, you use a schedule trigger and you say 8 a.m. every day, you want the marketing assets. All you have to do is fill in the URLs to these sheets, and that's it. At that specific time where you have scheduled, the automation will start and it will generate the marketing assets for you, and it will send it to your Google Drive. Okay. So once we loop through the items, we have a HTTPS node. What this node does is that it calls our tool. Here I've used Clade AI. So I will call that tool, and in a lot of instances, your product photos, they're not PNG, they have backgrounds, right? Now I want to remove those backgrounds so that my agent is able to perform better. That's the key, correct? So that's what I'm doing here. I give it a set of instructions here in the JSON. You don't need to worry about that because we'll be sharing this along with the recording on our YouTube channel. And at that time, you can just access the whole automation. You don't need to remember all these instructions that are there here. So what this does is that it will remove the background that's there. Now here we can't see that. So we have something called we use this HTTP node again. This will help in downloading the image also. So what I've done here is I've removed the background. Now I want to see how the output turns out. So what I'll be doing is I have the download images, and as you can see, the background was removed. In the case where there is a separate background I'm talking about, right? In this case, it does not have a special background. And then once you're done with removing the background, we have our OpenAI node. Now this node will help us in analyzing the images. OpenAI has multiple models, right? You can choose whatever you want. So right now I'm just using Foro Mini to analyze my images. Now once I have the downloaded image here, I am able to feed it to OpenAI, and I'm able to ask it to briefly describe what the image is about. So as you can see here, the image features a stylish perfume bottle. It has a rectangle shape with a rich amber hued liquid inside a decorative geometrically designed cap, etc. Right? So it has been given a brief description of the raw image that we have. Now, about the prompting that I had talked about in detail in the beginning of the webinar, that's what I'll be filling in here. I don't want to bore you and go into more depth, but there are certain components that you have to include in order to get the best prompt. When you are using OpenAI's node, you need to have the system message, you need to have a user message, you need to have a example input, you need to have an example output, and finally the current input that you'll be giving, right? So all this information will be given. For the system prompt, since this is for an Instagram post, as you can see, let's look at that. So I have given it a role. I have asked the agent to take up a role. I am telling it, you're an expert visual scene designer specializing in creating Instagram ready product photography prompts. Your main purpose is feed worthy hero image for social media. The visual should be polished, balanced composition, clear product focus, elegant props, can be bold or eye catching. That is what I'm giving it. That's the role it takes. But in the user prompt is where I'll be giving a detailed description. I am asking it to create a professional photography prompt that follows a structure. I've given it the prefix, the place, the background, surrounding lighting, mood. And I've given it a certain rules also. I've told what kind of output structure I want. I've given it all this here. Again, you don't need to remember all this. We'll be sharing directly, so you'll have access to all of these prompts. You can modify them if you wish to, and you can just generate the product photographs at the end. And yeah, I have an example input here, I have an example output here, and once I generate execute step and I generate this node, as you can see here, I have a prompt that has been generated. Now let's read just one of the prompts, not the other one, right? So you have a professional photo of a stylish perfume bottle. Its crisp rectangular form filled with a rich amber hue liquid that catches the light beautifully. The bottle is elegantly positioned on a smooth marble surface with veins of gray and white, adding a touch of luxury. In the background, you have an abstract painting, provides sophisticated yet unobstructed backdrop. Surrounding the bottle, you have explained what elements you want, you have explained the lighting, and you have explained the mood, right? And finally, for a marketing asset, it's always better to have an overlay text, right? And overlay text, it helps in like putting the whole image together as a marketing asset. So that's what I've done. I have also given it instructions to generate an overlay text that is suited for an Instagram post. So what it tells me is elegance encapsulated. That is the overlay text. We'll be using that going ahead. Now, once we have our Instagram post, the prompt ready, we feed it to our AI, and then It will give us the output, and then using we'll just execute this till here. I'll show you just this part. Okay. Okay, I think it's been exhausted. But then, okay, so what you do
Now look
is,
at this, Manita. There's
yeah,
a question in the chat.
yeah.
Um, Anshul is asking what's the cost of the store for someone who is running a business, so anywhere between 20 to a few hundred product images every month. Okay, so I'll answer this one. Anshuman, for this, it'll be better if we can have a conversation because we'll have to understand the scale, not just in terms of the number of images, but also in terms of products and what kind of backgrounds you need and so on. Because based on that, the workflow would have to be modified. So yeah, maybe what I'll do is I'll drop you an email, hopefully. n8n, okay, n8n is simple.
Oh,
n8n
n8n.
is the platform that we're using to create the workflow. So for n8n, it's if you're hosting your workflow on n8n cloud, then it's $20 a month, right, Maluka?
Yeah, yeah. On cloud, it's $20. On n8n's cloud, it's $20 per month. And you can also host it on your
Yeah,
own
and
server as well, self-host.
it's euros. Okay, it will depend on where you're located. Yeah, it's 20 euros. It's showing now. Correct. Yeah, it's 20 euros. I think earlier it was in dollars. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's correct. It's 20 euros for 5 executions. Malika, can you explain what are executions?
You're talking about only n8n's pricing, right?
Yeah, it says
Once
five
you have,
concurrent executions.
yeah, if you're just talking, yeah, yeah, n8n we have hosted on our server, and we are creating our automations on n8n. Once you have a subscription, like on our server, we don't need, if you have it installed on our server, we don't need to pay for every execution. And even the same thing in the subscription also, if you pay for the 20 euros per month subscription, you don't need to pay for individual executions.
So
I
what's an
hope
execution?
that's
That's
what
what
it
Anshuman
is.
is asking.
Executions as in one running of the your automation. Say from here to here, the whole thing. I'm execute clicking on the execute workflow and it executes once. That is an execution.
Yeah. So Anshuman, yeah, even if you don't have your own server, it's fine. You can host
No,
it.
I think you're
You can
getting
use it
confused
on
between
n8n.
n8n. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think you're
Malika,
getting
go ahead.
confused between n8n and Clade AI. We used Clade AI. That's the tool that we are using for creating these images.
So the workflow is created on n8n. It's executed. It's being run on n8n, but it connects multiple other tools, right? So the workflow uses multiple different tools. Clay.ai is one of the tools that we're using in this workflow. Now, execution, it's not one image is not equal to one execution. So the workflow, right? When you run the workflow, that is an execution. It really won't be. It says 5 concurrent executions. I don't think there should be a limit on the number of executions. Like if you execute once and one image is generated, it should not mean that you can only do it 5 times, right, Malika?
I'm not sure if he has a doubt about the Clade AI tool or n8n. That's
No,
what
no,
I'm trying
that's
to
n8n.
understand.
Is there the pricing for n8n?
But he mentioned 5 images for 20 euros.
Yeah,
So we are used.
because
So
on
we
n8n pricing
is, yeah.
page, so on the
No, no, no.
n8n pricing page, it says 5 concurrent executions in the pricing structure, the table.
Uh, yeah, but I think if you can unmute and maybe you can just explain you want for the images or for the executions, or that would be great.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So going back to the main question, what are executions?
Okay. So executions, like I said, they are one running of the whole automation that we have here. So suppose if this is the entire automation, then if I click execute here and it runs through every node and stops, that is one execution.
So that is one execution. The image that you're showing is the entire workflow.
Yes.
And 5 executions is what I'm allowed on a 20 euro per month subscription model, right? And you're telling me there
No,
are more
Anshuman,
tools that you
it's
have
five.
added on top of this.
No, it's five
Oh, I
concurrent
think five
executions. It's not
automations.
five.
Okay, you're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's five concurrent
I'm
executions.
glad you
It's not
guys are clear.
five
Can you explain it
executions
to
in
me too?
total.
Okay, I'm clear on the words to use. I still don't understand what they stand for. What is concurrent executions?
Uh,
Take your time, discuss with each other.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
We
Hi,
don't
this is
use
Santosh. Yeah, just sorry. So concurrent execution means, so if you have five different workflows, then five of them running at the same time. So there is a limit here. I mean, n8n puts a limit because if you run a lot of work at the same time, then obviously it's going to it's a workload on their server. So that's why there are limitations on the how many workflows you can run at the same time. Does that answer your question?
No,
Okay, so what is your concern? What is it that you're not able to understand?
that's okay. So we have understood what an execution is. Basically, the whole workflow operating at once is and producing a piece of content is an execution, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What you're telling me that you can have 5 different workflows, and for some reason we will count that as 5 executions. But what we have seen here is that if the workflow executes and creates something once, it's one execution. And for 20 euros, I can do 5 executions. I can probably have n number of workflows, but for 20 euros, I can create 5 pieces of content. Is that right? And what are concurrent executions? From the English language teaching that I have done, concurrent means one by one. So from the same workflow. So if the
Concurrent
workflow on our
means,
screen,
concurrent means something that is getting executed at the same time. So five workflows getting executed at the very same time. So
so
that's,
I'm limited by 5 workflows, but I can have n number of executions.
yeah, you can have n number of executions.
It says I think 2.5K workflow executions per month. If you'll see, there's a below the 20 euros, you can see a box that says 2.5K workflow executions per month. I'll just share this. Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. I think this is what Santosh just told. 5 automations all running at the same time. It can only be limited to 5.
Okay, at any given point of time, we can execute 5 because of the server load.
Yes.
But the number of pieces of content are like limited by 2,500 pieces of content.
Yes, per month. Yes.
I'm glad this discussion was helpful for all of us. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I'll just go back to the automation. Yeah, just a little bit more is left. Okay, so once you have your product image generated, you download them and you have a Gemini. I'm sure you have idea of the Google Gemini server. So what you have to do is you feed this image to Google Gemini server, and the overlay text that I talked about here in this OpenAI node that was generated here, You feed that also to Gemini server. What you do is, as you can see, again, all this information, you don't need to remember this piece of code. This is fixed. You can find it on Gemini also. But what the only thing I have added is the prompt here. What I'm saying is I'm asking it to incorporate the overlay text at a particular position. uh, if you're worried about all this being very static, you can make everything dynamic. You can, according to your use case, you can maybe have an user query that explains that, okay, this is how I want it, this is the size, or this is where I want the text position. If you don't want it, it will choose by itself where the text will position, right? So once you have the text generated, you will, one thing is that, let's look at this. I'll just execute this again. That's better for our understanding. It'll just take a few seconds. Request. I think because this was generated a while back, let's remove this and now execute it. Okay. So this is what we do when you don't want to run out of API query. Like, you have credits, so you have 20 credits or something. You have limited credits, right? So you don't want to run out of them. Once you execute them, you can pin the node. Pinning makes sure that it will stay there for some time, for a certain period of time. It will stay there. You can always go back and refer to what the output was. In this case, I guess because it is to do with an image from a third-party tool, so because it ran out of time or something of that sort, yeah, I was not able to generate it again. So it'll just take a few more seconds and then I'll generate this. Let's pin this also. So once this is generated, okay, like, yeah, it's done. Let's execute it till here. Okay, we have downloaded the output. Great, we have something different, right? We have this, and okay, so we have uploaded to the Gemini server, we have generated the text, we have converted to file, and I didn't click the last one. Okay, so this is what we got as an output. So as you saw in the beginning, we had a raw product image, and towards the end, as you can see here, the image is, we have your marketing asset here. Now you can design it however you want. You can add your own inputs to this. What I have done is I have, because of the prompting that I had given, it was able to generate all these background aesthetics, the vibes. It gives a whole new look, right? If you just give a normal prompt, maybe it would generate something very simple, but not like this. This looks professional. This looks as if it was actually captured using a professional, right? So that's what this automation aims to do. So we generated a marketing asset, for example. Now, when you this tool that we used here, so when we were using this tool, right, we have all these parameters that's there here. You can refer to the documents. You have aspect ratio here. Now, for each of these platforms that I talked about, for a website banner, for an ad creative, obviously, your size of the image will be different. For that, you can change your aspect ratios and you can generate according to that. If you want the text to be generated in a more fancy way, you can do that as well. But like, yeah, this is something that I wanted to show, how you can create marketing assets using this automation. Similarly, you can use for an Instagram story or a website banner or an ad creative. I suppose we might also be sharing them soon on more prompts on our school community. So you can just join that and look out for the prompts that we'll be sharing in the future. So yeah, this is basically what your like what this automation or what this tool is capable of doing. So if you have any other doubts or questions that you want to ask, please go ahead regarding the automation of the tool, anything.
Yeah, any
And
questions?
yeah, anything that you want to ask.
You can simply unmute yourself.
And you don't need to create multiple workflows to generate marketing assets. Like I have shown here, you can just drag and drop, and then you can 10 in a row. So it'll all be under one automation. You don't need to have 10 automations running for each of the marketing assets. You just put it all here, all 10 of them. And then what it does is that it will first generate the top one, then the next one, and then so on, so on.
Yeah, I'll just answer Harshit's question.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Harshit, we help you build automation workflows. So, let's say you have certain processes that you are following, which are repetitive in nature, or there's something that probably you're using several tools and you're doing the same process again and again. Then we can help you automate that entire process and make it run by itself, so you can scale up faster. So that's essentially what we do. There are different kinds of automation workflows, automation solutions that we build, and what we saw today is just one of them. If you are part of our school community, or if you've subscribed to our YouTube channel, you would have seen that there are several other automation solutions also that we've been building. So yeah, essentially we help businesses to automate repetitive tasks using AI. I hope that answers. Yeah. So yeah, just a reminder again. If you're not sure, if you've not joined our school community yet, you should do that. We share a lot of resources every day on the community, which could be helpful for, for people who want to learn something, plus anyone who wants to network with others as well. It's a great place to connect with others. So yeah, the link is in the chat box, and you can join from there. And at the same time, if you liked this workflow or any other workflows that Malvika even shared at the beginning, if you'd like to know more about that, happy to get on a call and we can discuss more in detail. So that's all I think from my side. And if there are more questions, happy to address them. All right then. Yeah, I think we're good, and there don't seem to be any more questions right now. So thank you all for joining, and yeah, see you all around in the community.